Alright, so we're going to do the second of many examples from this section. And I would encourage you to do it like pause the video, do as much as you can on your own, and then check your work with me. Here we have another rational function. This factors as x minus 2, or we can make it x plus 2, doesn't matter, x minus 2 over x plus 1. The domain, set the denominator equals 0, so it's all x not equal to negative 1. There is nothing cancels, so it's already in lowest terms. So the x-intercepts set is where the numerator is 0, and that's going to be at negative 2 and positive 2. The y-intercept, plug in x equals 0, you get negative 4 over positive 1, so that is going to be negative 4. Vertical asymptote is at negative 1, and because the degree is bigger in the numerator, there's no horizontal asymptote. All right. All right, so we have a vertical asymptote at negative 1. No horizontal asymptotes. We have an x-intercept at 2 and negative 2. And a y-intercept at negative 4. Okay. Let's make our sign chart. The point of interest is where our asymptotes and x-intercepts are, and this is at negative 2, so negative 2, negative 1, and positive 2. And just as before, you can see when x is, again, you can plug in a number in each interval, like you could plug in 3 and you'll see it's a positive number, or you can see that when x is bigger than 2, all of these are positive. So it's positive. Between negative 1 and 2, let's say you can plug in 0, which we already did, we know it's negative. Between negative 2 and 1, you can plug in like negative 1.5, and you'll see that's positive. And when x is less than negative 2, you can plug in, let's say, negative 3, you'll see everything's negative. So it's negative. Now the thing here is that this is going to, because there are no horizontal asymptotes, the graph is going to be shooting off at both ends. And this sign chart says that this is shooting up on the right and down on the left. So our graph is going to start down here. It's going to pass through this point and then shoot up, because we can see it's positive between negative 2 and 1. And then between negative 1 and 2, it's below the x-axis, so it starts way, way down here. Passes through this point, then through this point. So, looks like that. And then, once we get past 2, the graph is above the x-axis, so shooting, again, it's because it's below, above, below, above. Okay? There's no horizontal asymptotes. We could, on the homework, they said that it turns out this does have something called an oblique asymptote. That only occurs when we have the degree of the top is 1 more than the bottom, and what that means is that eventually this hugs like some other line, a non-horizontal line. But we're not going to really worry about that. And in the homework, if they ask for oblique asymptotes, just ignore that question. Okay, let's try the next example. again, if we factor out, we can factor out a 3x from the top. And the bottom should factor as x plus 4 times x minus 3. Okay, if that's correct, which I hope it is. And, okay, so the domain will be all x not equal to negative 4 and 3. The x-intercept is at the numerator equal, by the way, this is already in lowest terms, so nothing cancels. But the x-intercept is going to be at 0, 0, and 1, 0. Because 0 and 1, it makes the numerator 0. The y-intercept is going to be 0. Right, because we already know that 0, 0 is an x-intercept, so that's also the y-intercept. And we have that the vertical asymptote will be at x equals negative 4 and x equals 3. And we have a, do we have a horizontal asymptote? Yes, we do. The degree of the top is 2, the degree of the bottom is 2, so they're equal. So the leading coefficients are 3, 1. 3 divided by 1 is 3. So the horizontal asymptote is y equals 3 over 1, or just 3. Okay. We'll plot these in a moment, but let's make a let's do this in a little different order and make a sign chart. The points that we can change, if it changes sign, it will be at negative 4, 0, 1, and 3. And you can see that this will go from this. This is over here, everything is positive. Once again, you can check that it goes from positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. Again, you could check this by just doing determining the sign of each factor, or just plugging in numbers on each each of these intervals, and see what the sign is. So, alright, so here's 1. Okay, so we have a vertical asymptote at negative 4. And 3. The x-intercept is at 0, 0, and 1, 0. And a horizontal asymptote is at 3. Alright, we start out positive over here on the left, and that means at negative 4 we're shooting up on the left and we're shooting down on the right. So the graph is going to start way down here, and we can see the graph is completely underneath the x-axis from negative 4 to 0. Then from a very short time between 0 and 1, it's above the x-axis. It has to go through these points, and it's going to have to turn around at some point very quickly. We don't know exactly what this turning point is, but we know it exists. And then from 1 to negative 3, the graph is below the x-axis. And then this says at the asymptote 3, it shoots down, and then it shoots down on the left and shoots up on the right, so the graph is going to resume over here and then come down like this.